Hey, welcome back to the Reality Guys. Here to talk about the reality show formerly known as Big Brother and the new sitcom series called Two Stupid Zombies. I'm going to go over the aftermath of this most recent double eviction where we lost both Cam and Jared, and they have just re entered the house as zombies, and we're no longer playing the game of Big Brother this week. And instead, they're going to have an opportunity to do a battle back. I listened to some people talk about live feed coverage and this whole scenario, and it sounded really bad. But actually, after watching this Sunday episode, I actually enjoyed the episode, and I enjoy this, at least the battle back concept. The zombie thing is kind of weak, not very scary, but overall, I definitely enjoyed the Sunday episode. I know it kind of kicked off where basically we had a preview back to before the double eviction, where of course Corey won the HOH and decides he wants to put Jared and Blue on the block. There's a lot of whispers going around of Blue, should she get nominated? Will she take down Jared? Basically, she, stabs her own self in the back and says she would take down Jared to Corey's face. So thus he decides to put her on the block. And her own allies agree that that's the move, Jag and Blue. I really enjoyed all the strategy and all the whispering that happened very quickly on that live double eviction before they sent Jared out the door. And I actually really also enjoyed where Felicia ends up blowing up at Sari and Jared and screaming a little bit. Sari, I see her raise her own voice for the first time in forever, I think. I don't think I've ever seen her, get that angry on any of her other shows. And basically, Sari was like trying to tell Mimi, Felicia, Bowie, we are the four, we are the majority. We can save Jared. But she realizes that that was never their intention. They want to go with the majority of the house, which basically means they just want to side with the other house, which is only, I guess it is the majority, if you count Blue, but she's on the block and Corey, who's the HOH. But for this vote, if they really wanted to, they could have taken out Blue instead of Jared. But they decide that's not the move. So, of course, Jared goes home. I really enjoyed that whole blow up. Mimi, of course, is also in the room, yet doesn't say a single thing the entire time, playing the quiet game. But anyways, on to Zombie Week. So we got the two most recent evictees. Jared and Cameron are back in the house. One of them is going to get to stay. Basically, we're going to see them both kind of talk to people in the house, try to re-strategize, figure out new alliances, rebuild old alliances and the such, because one of them is going to be back in the house and everyone's going to have to adjust for that. We see how this impacts other people's game plans, where Corey, he's telling everyone on his crew thinks that Jared's the bigger threat and that Jared's the one that needs to go home, or they hope loses, and that Cameron does come back. They think they can work with Cam at least. And it's working because Cameron, that's his plan. His plan is to stay chill, lay low, build alliances. He actually builds a tight little threesome with Matt and Jag. And of course, Jared, he kind of doesn't really do much different, but other than try to rebuild his alliance with his mom. We even see Matt, he's upset. He's crying to Sari about the fact that he didn't use the veto on Jared. He said that he didn't want Sari to get backdoored, so he was looking out for her and her best interest. I mean, obviously, he doesn't know that's her son, even if they were a tight alliance between Jared and Sari. So I like the way Matt's playing. Sari even gives a confessional where she thinks that either he's the best snake she's ever played with, or she just thinks that he's loyal to a fault to her and playing a really good game, or is just a nice guy. So I don't think he would stab her in the back, but I definitely think he's a threat to her game. A little bit of foreshadowing. She even says, I made a TikTok about it. Go check that out, where she foreshadows that usually she plays with people like Matt and gets all the way to the end or near the end, and she loses, but then they get propelled into the winning position, which, I think, hey, Matt's a front runner at this point. He's a huge threat, but no one's really even thinking about taking a shot at him. So Jared doesn't do much strategizing in the house. He just kind of argues with people, I think, once he's back, or maybe that was before eviction. I don't even know. Jared, obviously, the big blow up he had with Felicia, that was obviously in his zombie clothes after he came back into the house. So that's when that happened. So he didn't do much to really strategize his game moving forward, unlike Cameron. And he's just trying to figure out why Blue sort of betrayed him, withheld the truth from him. So I think Jared's still in a tough spot if he comes back. Cameron, I think, is in a better spot. And I am rooting for Cameron. I think he would be the more interesting player to be back in the game for sure. But onto the Resurrection Rumble. So this is basically a competition, much like they did in All Stars season, which I think was like, season 22 or so. And basically what they have to do is they're on a balance beam going back and forth, or a balance beam teeter-totter going back and forth, trying to load balls onto their shovel. eyeballs and skulls. This is going to be played over, the next day or so. They're going to do 3 different rounds and get to have breaks and strategize in between. And it looks like what they're doing is each round is 10 minutes. And the goal is to get to 30 balls or have the most balls by the end of that 3 rounds and that total 30 minutes. After round 1, they both ended up being 7-7 against each other. And it looks like in round 2, when they started that one up, the 7 balls were already in the shovel. So they just had to build upon that and try to go towards 30. However, in round 2, they both did mess their balls up and had to reset. And it looked like, at least in the round 1 of the game, Jared's strategy was to put the big balls in the shovel. And Cameron thought that if he puts the little balls in the shovel, they'll be able to hold the big ones better. So at least from what we can tell, and then Jared even switched the strategy up. So it looks like putting the smaller balls in first does seem to be the best method. We also saw that Cameron, he realizes that you don't want to jump off your balance beam to grab the ball, because then you're basically having to do an extra teeter to it, which makes a lot of sense. You see Jared adopt that as well in round 2, where they're both kind of getting to the ball, grab point, and instead of stepping off, they're reaching and pulling and grabbing the ball to save time from having to get off a balance beam. And basically, this episode from Sunday night ends with Cameron winning round 2, 13-9. It looks like on the live episode on Thursday, they're going to start over for round 3. And then what I've heard from live feed chatter is that the winner of this competition is actually just trying to decide if they want to play or not play in another competition that'll be on the live show. And so, assuming if Cameron wins this competition, he'll have to decide, does he want to play in the one to get back in the game? And if he decides he does want to play in that game, if he ends up losing whatever it is, Jared will actually be the one that goes back into the house by default. So it'll be really interesting to see if Cameron, or if Cameron does get the chance to choose, will he play in the game himself? Will he have enough information to make that decision? And will there be some sort of maybe manipulation if Cameron's playing that would kind of lean the odds not in his favor, so that hopefully he loses? Because I know CBS would probably love to have Jared back in that house in order to, appease Suri, but we shall see what happens. Make sure to check out everything else we have coming out on the Reality Guys this week. It's going to be a super busy one from us. We're not going to be having a Big Brother episode Thursday, but we will be trying to drop the challenge after Thursday, a Buddy Games episode. We also have Survivor coming out Wednesday, The Amazing Race. Even Bachelor in Paradise and Golden Bachelor are also on Thursdays. So a lot of stuff from us on the channel. Please make sure to check us out starting around Wednesday or so. That should be when the first set of things starts to drop. Also, Love is Blind Fridays. So with that being said, we appreciate you. Drop a like and a comment. I would thank you for that. And I'll see you on the next one.